Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Come on, say it with me. Wake up and win. Wake up and win. Wake up and win. Good morning. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another broadcast of Wake Up and Win Live with your girl, Dr. Najuma. I'm super excited to be on with you all this morning to share with you today's win word. It is a Freedom Friday, and I'm super excited about today's win word. So let's get into it, shall we? But before we do that, let me reintroduce myself. I am your girl, Dr. Najuma. I am a pastor, I am a spiritual growth coach, and I also lead in the area of civic and community engagement here in the great city of Los Angeles. And I use this platform to offer a daily win word for those like myself who have gone through a major loss, to remind, to share, to uplift that we can go through a major loss, recover, restore, rebuild, and win again. That we can go through a major loss, whatever that might be, you can recover, you can restore, you can rebuild, and win again. And so our daily win word is set up to give you a tool, a tip, or just simple inspiration and encouragement so that you can get up, get out there, and win again. So thank you again for joining me on today's broadcast of Wake Up and Win with your girl, Dr. Najuma. So let's get into today's win word. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell someone about our channel. Like, share, and subscribe. Feel free to listen to our playlist all day long, whatever the case might be. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into today's win word. So today's win word is take the risk. Take the risk. Take the risk. Yes. Winning again, deciding to get up from whatever took you down, brought you down, had you down, is risky business. Deciding to live again after a loss, deciding to get back up again after a loss, it's risky business. And which is why so many people don't actually recover. They don't restore, they don't rebuild, they don't refresh, they don't renew, they don't get back out there and attempt to win again because it's a risky business. What happens if it happens again? What happens if I lose again? What happens if my heart gets broken again? What happens if I go through this trauma again? What happens? What happens? What happens? And so to take the leap, to take the step, to make the moves, to put is a risky business. But I want to offer to you that your life, the abundant life that God has in store for you, the blessings that God has in store for you, the doors that God still has yet to open for you, the opportunities that God has laid out for you, the bridges that God has created so you can go from one place to another and go over any troubled waters or challenges is greater than the risk that you might be taking. I'm not going to say it's worth it. I'm going to say it's greater than. You're right. It is a risk to start again. It is a risk to keep trying. It is a risk to get back out there again. It is a risk because what if there's another setback? What if there's another challenge? And let me offer this to you. I bring this up because I was in conversation with a young man this week, earlier in the week, who is struggling with some interpersonal challenges. And he says to me these words, and I kid you not, because I was offering him to get him to a place where he can get some assistance for his issues. And he says to me these words, and they've been ringing in my ear all week long. He says to me, my concern is, what if I go and I fail again? I have failed a couple of times. I've tried a couple of times and I don't want to go and fail again because when I fail again, that makes me feel worse. See, he saw not being successful the first couple of times at his project, at his personal life project, I'm gonna call it that. He saw the couple of times that he tried and it didn't work as failures. What I said to him was, I hope that you understand that those weren't complete failures. You tried and you tried. And here's the thing with life, you're gonna have to try again. And we're talking about his personal life. So this is not just a project. We're talking about himself. That you're worth working on again and again and again. We're not talking about a project on making something or buying something. I was saying to him, you see that as failure, but I see a person who has who has decided to keep working until you change, until you get better, until you get healed and delivered from this issue. So what? It's so okay. The first few times didn't work for you, but he only saw his attempts as failures. And maybe the people in his space only saw his attempts as failures. I don't know. But what I said to him was, you're worth trying again. And I'm going to say to you what I said to him, you're worth trying again. I know it's a risk to love again after your heart's been broken. I know it's a risk to build a business again after the last business was crashed. I know it's a risk to love people after you had to bury someone that you loved. I know it's a risk, but you're worth the risk. Your life, what God still has for you, what God still wants to do in your life is still worth you taking the risk. And so on this Freedom Friday, I want to free you up. I want to free up your mind, free up your heart, free you up. I pray right now that you get freed up of the fear of taking the risk because you're afraid you're going to fail again. It is a risk, but it's a risk worth taking. And my prayer for you today is that you know you are the risk worth taking. You're worth the risk. Your life is worth it. Your ideas are worth it. Your dreams are worth it. Worth it. Your future is worth you taking the risk. And here's what also I've learned, that every time we try something, or every time we take the risk and it doesn't work out the way we expect it, here's what I've also learned. Coming close for this one. Coming close to this one is you learn something every time. So yeah, I took the risk this third time and it didn't work out, but I learned something else. I learned something else about me. I learned something else about that. So it's not in vain, even if you take the risk and it doesn't quite work out. What did you learn? What did you gain that you can now apply to your next attempt? Take the risk. Take the leap that might be risky. Take the step that might be risky. Take on the challenge and it might be risky, but take the risk. You are absolutely worth it. You're absolutely worth it. So here's what I want to challenge you with this weekend is write down what's the real risk, not the stuff made up in your head. What's the real risk that you are taking or that you might potentially take? What's the real risk? If the risk is only up in here, it's not real, then I want you to ball that paper up and throw it away. If you write down what's the risk and they are real, then the next phase is to write down, how do you mitigate your risk? What can you do on this side to help mitigate those risks if you can? Or what will be your next step? So if you look at an infographic, there's a picture and then it gives you a lines and it gives you a couple different choices and it gives you some more lines and a couple different choices. And I want you to do that with your risk taking. I want you to do a risk assessment. Write down the risk and really assess how it might play out so you can do what you can to mitigate some of the risk, to mitigate some of the risk and drive down into it so you can get clarity. And I think what you'll discover, that even if there's a risk, there is an answer, there is a pathway, there's a solution for the risk you might be taking. I want to invite you to do the assignment. Don't tell me, no, don't tussle with me on this one. Don't tell me it won't work if you haven't at least done the blocks. Make the block, and go on all the way down until you figure out what's the solution for the risk that you might be taking. And you will discover that even with the risk you might be taking, there is a solution for that too, which is all the more reason why you can take the risk. And you're absolutely worth it. Your future is worth it. You getting back out there, your win is worth the risk. Winners are risk takers. Winners are risk takers. Put that in the chat for those that are watching, those that are listening. Winners are risk takers. I think I'm going to put that on a t shirt. Winners are risk takers. Listen, y'all, thank you for joining us on today's broadcast of Wake Up and Win Live with your girl, Dr. Najuma. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube and all the podcast stations. Follow us. Make sure to comment, send a comment or a post, and repost on your social so people know where and how to find us. And we'll be back next week on Monday with more Today's Win Word with your girl, Dr. Najuma. We out, y'all. Peace.